She said I was nothing without her. My name is Nathan, 37 years old, worked construction for 15 years before I switched to equipment sales in Kansas City, Missouri. Married Jessica for 8 years. Thought I knew what loyalty meant. Turns out I was wrong about a lot of things. The cracks started small. She began working late at Sunspire Capital, her new investment firm. 3 nights a week became 5. Then weekends. Her boss, Tyler, was always part of the conversation. Tyler thinks this. Tyler said that. Tyler wants me to handle the client dinner. His name hung in our house like smoke I could not clear. I tried not to think about it. Tried to focus on my own work, traveling between job sites selling heavy machinery to contractors who actually appreciated what I did. But something gnawed at me every time I came home to an empty house. The silence felt wrong, like walking into a room where people had just stopped talking about you. Then came the night I got home early from a canceled meeting. Found her laptop open on the kitchen table. Email up on the screen. Just one line visible before the screensaver kicked in. Can't wait for Nathan to be out of the picture. Then we can finally be together. From Tyler. I stood there for maybe 5 minutes. Did not touch the laptop. Did not yell. Just walked to the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. My hands shook, but I kept them still. My chest felt tight, like someone was pressing down on it with both palms. When Jessica came home an hour later, I acted like nothing happened. Kissed her on the cheek when she walked past. Asked about her day. She told me about a difficult client. I nodded in all the right places. I needed time to think. Needed to see how deep this went. So I watched. Paid attention to the little things. The way she checked her phone constantly. The new perfume. The expensive clothes she said were for work. The late nights that turned into overnights. Business trips Tyler suddenly needed her on. Our dog Zeus, a German shepherd I had raised from a puppy, started going with her everywhere. She said Tyler loved dogs, that it made clients feel comfortable, but Zeus was mine. I trained him, fed him, took him running every morning before work. Now he barely looked at me when I walked through the door. Jessica and I met at a charity fundraiser in Louisville 11 years back. I was there representing my company. She was fresh out of business school working entry level at a regional bank. She was smart, ambitious, had this way of making you feel like the most interesting person in the room. We talked for 3 hours straight that night. About everything. Dreams, family, what we wanted from life. We got married 3 years later. Small wedding. Her parents flew in from Seattle. Mine drove up from Little Rock. My dad pulled me aside during the reception, said Jessica seemed like the type who always needed more. More attention, more money, more everything. I brushed it off, told him he did not know her like I did. The first few years were good. We bought a house in a decent neighborhood, 3 bedrooms, small yard, white fence. I worked steady. She climbed the corporate ladder. We talked about kids someday. Talked about building something together. A life that meant something. She said she loved how grounded I was, how I never let ambition cloud what mattered. Then she joined Sunspire Capital 2 years ago. Tyler was the senior partner. Mid-40s, divorced, drove a Tesla. Jessica started dressing different. Nicer clothes, expensive perfume, said it was professional expectations. Said everyone at that level dressed like that. I believed her. Wanted to believe her. The money I had saved over the years went into joint accounts. $2 million from a successful equipment resale business I had built before switching to sales. My dad taught me to save young. Put away 10% of every paycheck. Invest wisely. Live below your means. Jessica knew every penny of it. Knew about the house equity too. Everything was in both our names. That was marriage. That was trust. Looking back, the signs were obvious. She stopped asking about my day, stopped caring if I ate dinner. When I tried to plan date nights, she always had some excuse. Work event, client emergency. Tyler needed her. Always Tyler. My buddy from high school, Calvin, noticed it too. We grabbed beers one night and he asked if everything was okay at home. I said it was fine. He did not push, but I saw it in his face. He knew. 3 weeks after I saw that email, Jessica filed for divorce, handed me the papers at breakfast, said she needed someone on her level, someone with ambition, someone who understood what it meant to really succeed. Tyler was that person. I was not. The divorce happened fast, too fast for something that should have taken months. Jessica had a lawyer ready, some sharp woman from a downtown firm who specialized in asset division, high-powered, expensive, the kind who smiled while ripping you apart. I hired a guy Calvin recommended, but he seemed overwhelmed from the start. Said Jessica's legal team was aggressive, said I should prepare to lose more than I expected. They took everything. The house went to her because she argued she had maintained it. The $2 million in savings got split, but her lawyer argued she contributed to my success through emotional support and partnership, through being there during the hard years, through sacrificing her own career early on. Somehow that meant she deserved more. The judge agreed. I walked away with $400,000. She got $1.6 million. Then she took Zeus. Said she had been the primary caregiver for the past year, that he responded better to her, that I traveled too much for work to properly care for him. My lawyer argued, showed photos of me and Zeus from years back, tried to prove the bond we had. The judge sided with her anyway, said current caregiving mattered more than history. I watched her walk out of the courthouse with my dog on a leash. Tyler was waiting by his car with a smug grin. He put his arm around her, kissed her on the forehead. Zeus did not even look back at me. I sat in my truck for an hour after they left. Did not start the engine. Just stared at the steering wheel. Tried to process what had just happened. Calvin called that night. Asked where I was staying. I told him I had rented a small apartment across town. 1 bedroom, barely furnished. A mattress on the floor and a coffee maker on the counter. He offered to come over. Bring beer. Talk. I told him I needed to be alone. He said to call if I changed my mind. The next morning I got a call from my mom. My grandpa had passed during the night. Heart attack. He was 91. Lived alone in Little Rock for the last 10 years since Grandma died. I drove down that afternoon for the funeral. Did not pack much. Just a suit and a change of clothes. Grandpa and I had been close when I was younger. He was a carpenter. Built half the houses in his neighborhood with his own hands. Taught me about hard work. About integrity. About doing things right even when no one was watching. We had drifted apart over the years, but I always respected him. Always thought about the lessons he taught me. After the service, the family lawyer pulled me aside. Said Grandpa had left me something. A safety deposit box at First National Bank. The key was in an envelope with my name on it. Inside the envelope was also a letter. The letter was sealed, written on the outside in Grandpa's shaky handwriting. Open on your birthday. My birthday was 4 days away. I tried calling Jessica twice that week. Wanted to talk to Zeus. Hear his bark over the phone. Stupid, maybe. But he was all I had left that felt like home. She did not answer. Sent a text instead. Stop calling. Move on with your life. Tyler posted a photo on social media that same day. Him and Jessica at some upscale restaurant in downtown Kansas City. White tablecloths, wine glasses, Zeus sitting beside their table looking happy. The caption said something about new beginnings and fresh starts. Jessica commented with heart emojis. I stared at that photo longer than I should have. Studied every detail. The way she smiled. The way Tyler's hand rested on her shoulder. The way Zeus looked content. Calvin met me for coffee on my birthday. Said I looked like hell. I probably did. Had not been sleeping much. Dark circles under my eyes. Lost some weight. He asked about the envelope from Grandpa. I told him I was opening it that afternoon. He offered to come with me. I said I needed to do it alone. After coffee, I drove to the bank in Little Rock. Sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes before going inside. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. Not from weight. From everything it represented. From Grandpa being gone. From my life falling apart. From not knowing what came next. I opened it carefully. Did not want to tear anything. Grandpa's handwriting was shaky but clear. Nathan, if you are reading this, then I am gone and you have reached another year. I have watched you grow into a man of character. Strong. Honest. The kind of man this world needs more of. I know life has not always been kind to you. I know you have faced hardship and disappointment. Your grandmother and I set aside money over the years, not for luxury, but for security, for family, for building something that lasts. This account has $20 million. It is yours. Use it wisely. Build something good. Make choices that matter. And remember, real wealth is not what you have in the bank. It is who you are when everything else is stripped away. Your grandfather, Walter. I read it 3 times. Did not cry, did not smile, just folded the letter carefully and put it back in the envelope. Sat there for another few minutes. Then I went inside the bank. The bank manager was an older woman named Gloria. She had known Grandpa for decades. She verified everything with quiet efficiency. Old savings account opened in 1963. Compound interest over decades. Careful investments. Conservative growth. $20,300,000. All in my name. Grandpa had set it up years ago when I was born. Kept it separate from everything else. Never touched it. Just let it grow. Jessica had no idea it existed. How could she? I had not known myself. I drove back to Kansas City that night. Made one stop, at a lawyer's office downtown. Not the guy Calvin recommended. Someone better. Someone who handled high net worth cases. Someone who won. The lawyer's name was Vanessa. Mid-50s, sharp eyes, gray suit, reputation for winning impossible cases. Her office was on the 20th floor overlooking the city. Expensive art on the walls. Leather furniture. The kind of place that charged $500 an hour just to sit down. I laid out everything. The divorce, the settlement, the assets Jessica took, the timing of Grandpa's inheritance. She listened without interrupting, took notes, asked a few clarifying questions. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and studied me. She asked why I was there. I said I wanted to know my options. Wanted to understand if Jessica had any claim to the inheritance, if there was anything she could do to hurt me again. Vanessa smiled. Small. Professional. Said the inheritance came after the divorce was finalized. Completely separate property. Jessica had no legal claim to it whatsoever. That money was mine. Protected. Safe. But there was something else. She asked if I had signed the settlement agreement without reading it carefully, without having someone review every clause. I admitted I had. My lawyer at the time said it was standard. Said fighting would only cost more money. Make things drag on. I trusted him. Signed where he told me to sign. Vanessa pulled up the documents on her computer, read through them methodically, stopped on page 7, pointed to a clause buried in the legal language. Jessica had agreed to return any joint assets if fraud or concealment was proven within 1 year of the settlement date. It was standard boilerplate. Most people never used it, but it was there. I did not understand it first, did not see how it applied. Vanessa explained slowly, clearly. If Jessica had hidden assets or misrepresented her financial situation during the divorce proceedings, the entire settlement could be challenged. Everything could be reopened, reassessed. She asked if I had any reason to believe Jessica was not honest about her finances, any suspicious activity, any unexplained money. I thought about it, remembered something from a year ago. Jessica had mentioned a trust fund from her grandmother, said it was not much, maybe $50,000, something her grandmother left her when she died years back. But I never saw it listed in the divorce paperwork, never saw it disclosed anywhere. Vanessa made a note. Said she would look into it. Said if Jessica failed to disclose assets, that was fraud, clear violation of divorce law, grounds to void the entire settlement. 2 weeks later she called. Said she found something big. Jessica's grandmother had died 8 years ago. Left a trust worth $750,000. Jessica never disclosed it, never included it in the asset division. Never mentioned it to her lawyer or the court. She hid it. That was fraud. That changed everything. Vanessa filed a motion to reopen the case. Jessica's lawyer fought back hard, called it harassment, called it a desperate attempt by a bitter ex-husband, said the trust was irrelevant, a family gift, not marital property, not subject to division. Vanessa countered with documentation. Bank records showing Jessica had accessed the trust during our marriage, used it for personal expenses, transferred money out of it multiple times. That made it marital property. That made hiding it fraud. The judge agreed to review the case. Set a hearing date. 3 months out. Jessica called me 2 days later. First time I had heard her voice in months. She was angry, yelling, said I was being petty, that I should let it go and move on with my life, that this was pathetic. Tyler was in the background. I could hear him saying something about me being broke and desperate, trying to claw back what I lost. I told her calmly that I would see her in court. Then I hung up. Vanessa told me to stay quiet. Do not post on social media. Do not contact Jessica. Do not talk to mutual friends. Do not do anything that could hurt the case. Just live my life. Go to work. Act normal. I followed her advice. Spent the time working, saving, planning, moved into a better apartment. Nothing fancy but comfortable. 2 bedrooms, actual furniture. Started going to the gym again. Saw Calvin more often. He asked what I was up to. I told him I was just getting my life back together, trying to find some kind of normal. During that time, Vanessa dug deeper, kept investigating, found more than just the trust. Jessica had a second bank account, offshore, Cayman Islands, opened 2 years before the divorce. She had been moving money into it slowly, small amounts at first, 5,000 here, 10,000 there, then larger sums, 50,000, 100,000. By the time we separated, there was $400,000 sitting in that account. Tyler had helped her set it up. His firm specialized in wealth management, asset protection, tax strategies, legal ways to hide money. They had planned the whole thing. Probably started planning it a year before she even filed for divorce. Vanessa presented the evidence to the judge in a sealed motion, requested a full audit of Jessica's finances, every account, every transaction, everything. The judge granted it. Jessica's lawyer tried to block it, said it was a witch hunt, an invasion of privacy, said there was no basis for such an intrusive investigation. The judge did not care, ordered full disclosure within 30 days. 2 weeks before the hearing, Tyler called me. First time we had ever spoken directly. His voice was smooth, confident. He said I was making a mistake, that Jessica had moved on, that I should too, that dragging this out only made me look bitter and small. He offered me $50,000 to drop the case, cash, no questions asked. I asked him if he thought I was stupid. He hung up. The day of the hearing arrived. I wore a suit, same one I wore to Grandpa's funeral. Sat in the courtroom next to Vanessa. Jessica and Tyler walked in together. She looked nervous, kept fidgeting with her hands. Tyler looked arrogant, like he owned the room. The judge called the case. Vanessa presented the evidence, the hidden trust, the offshore account, the pattern of concealment, the deliberate fraud. Jessica's lawyer argued it was a misunderstanding, an oversight, not intentional, just poor record-keeping. The judge looked at Jessica, asked her directly if she had knowingly hidden assets during the divorce proceedings. Jessica hesitated, looked at Tyler. He nodded slightly. She said no, said she had made mistakes but had not lied. Vanessa played a recording, a voicemail from Jessica to her lawyer, recorded 6 months before the divorce was finalized. Jessica saying she needed to make sure Nathan never found out about the grandmother's trust, that it was her safety net, her escape fund, her way to start over without being dependent on anyone. The courtroom went silent. The judge did not need to hear more. She ruled immediately. The original settlement was voided due to fraud. Jessica was ordered to return the $1.6 million she had taken from me. The house would be sold, and the proceeds split evenly. The hidden trust and offshore account were to be divided equally as marital assets. Jessica was also ordered to pay my legal fees. Jessica's face went white. Tyler stood up, started to say something. The judge told him to sit down, told him his firm was under investigation for aiding in financial fraud, that the State Bar Association would be contacted. Tyler sat, his arrogance gone. The judge was not finished. She looked at Jessica, said that deliberate concealment of assets in a divorce proceeding was not just unethical, it was criminal. She was referring the case to the district attorney's office for potential prosecution. Jessica started crying. Her lawyer tried to object. The judge dismissed them. The house sold within 2 months. I got my share. Combined with the returned settlement money and the divided hidden assets, I ended up with nearly $3 million. More than I started with. Jessica moved out of state, Colorado Springs. Tyler lost his partnership at Sunspire Capital after the investigation found he had helped multiple clients hide assets. His license was suspended. Last I heard, he was working for some small firm in Denver. Jessica faced criminal charges, pled guilty to fraud. Got probation and a $50,000 fine. No jail time, but her career was over. No respectable firm would hire her. A week after everything settled, a shelter in Kansas City called. They had Zeus. Said Jessica dropped him off 2 months earlier. Could not afford to keep him. I picked him up that afternoon. I bought a house outside the city, 5 acres, room for Zeus to run. Quiet place. Started building furniture in a small workshop. Something Grandpa would have done. Calvin came by one weekend, helped me set up, asked if I was happy. I told him I was getting there. Jessica and Tyler both got exactly what they deserved. She ended up working retail in Colorado Springs, struggling to pay bills. Tyler was disbarred 6 months later and left the state. I never saw either of them again. As for me, I learned what Grandpa meant. Real wealth is knowing who you are when everything is taken away.